Space has a way of universally inspiring people. Making folks want to do very challenging things to the best of their ability is what I think human space exploration does most for humankind.
This was probably the first time I ever saw any rocket ship launch, so it was really life-changing for me.
I know it's so complex, but they just made it seem so simple and effortless.
It was interesting to watch a corporation like SpaceX and an organization like NASA work in tandem to achieve this. This is the height of engineering.
Watching the commercial crew launch, I felt more joy and excitement because we were able to do more launches in space exploration, going to ISS.
To prepare for zero gravity is really to train your imagination. You don't have any way on Earth that truly prepares you for what it's like to live here. This is our office, but it is also our home.
So my favorite piece of research from Expedition 63 is going to be the Autonomous Medical Officer Support Software Demonstration. And I think it's really going to benefit Earth because it allows people to do complicated procedures and medical emergencies where a doctor can't get there in time.
I'm excited to be a part of the Artemis generation because I feel like we are the first step towards new scientific discoveries and new scientific opportunities.
I never really thought that I'd get to see people walk on the moon. We'd already been there. I wasn't sure if people were going to go back in my lifetime, and I'm so excited that I get the opportunity to see that.
I believe that the exploration of the moon and Mars will introduce new aspects of engineering.
One of the reasons I'm excited to be part of the Artemis generation is the fact that we will be landing the first woman and the next man on the moon. I believe that this important mission, including female representation, will serve as an inspiration for girls around the world.
Just so many new things are happening. New innovative technologies. It's the first time the South Pole of the moon's going to be explored, and the first woman on the lunar surface. That's awesome.
We're emphasizing that the sky is not the limit. We are also telling people that astronomy and space are not dead, but rather still expanding, just like this program.
Hi everyone, I'm NASA astronaut Christina Cook with my NASA crewmate Nick Hague, living and conducting research on board the International Space Station. This work is critical to our country and our international partners and will prepare humans for journeys to the moon and then onto Mars. By completing a successful year in the NASA High School Aerospace Scholars Program, you've taken a giant leap towards your own bright future.
It's important to engage in opportunities that inspire you. Be curious, alert, and attuned to the world around you and above you. It's one of the reasons I'm up here. Past students are among the next generation of explorers, and our NASA family is proud that you had the determination to finish this unique program. We look forward to your next steps. Good luck.
Good afternoon. Today, I'm honored to offer my hearty congratulations to the Texas High School Aerospace Scholars on your accomplishment completing the online and virtual moonshot experience. I'm inspired by your dedication to learning during a year that has had no shortage of challenges for students and their instructors, and for continuing the long legacy of Texas's exceptionalism in air and space. As we look forward to new expeditions to the moon, to Mars, and beyond, it is crucial to continue American ingenuity in space. From Apollo 11 to the upcoming Artemis program missions, and to the growth of commercial exploration, the next 50 years in space have the potential to be even more consequential than the last. And that starts here with the Artemis generation, a generation lucky enough to have come of age with the backdrop of rapid advances in space exploration, both low Earth orbit and beyond, the likes of which we've never seen before. From your dedication, you could play a role in landing the first woman ever on the surface of the moon, or even the very first boots to step on the surface of the red planet, Mars. As all of you here use the expertise gained in this program to go on to start a college education in STEM, you'll have the opportunity to define your generation and add your names to the list of pioneers of the final frontier. I also want to thank your instructors and the Johnson Space Center for all the hard work you do to further human potential and to fortify America's leadership in space for generations to come. As the flight director of Apollo 11, Mr. Gene Kranz said, "What America will dare, America will do." And I'm so proud that the students here today have dared to continue this great tradition. God bless you.
Welcome, and thank you. Welcome, and thank you for joining us for NASA Johnson Space Center's Texas High School Aerospace Scholars Ceremony. I would also like to extend a thank you to all of the families and friends who are joining us today virtually. Without your support, the students would not have accomplished what we are celebrating today. I would also like to thank Senator Ted Cruz for his inspiring words. At this time, I would like to introduce the Deputy of the External Relations Office, Ms. Cindy MacArthur, to share a few words.
Thank you, Jessica. It's a real pleasure to be able to join all of you for this special event. On behalf of the Center and the External Relations Office, which is the home of the amazing, or should I say awesome, Haas team, we would like to congratulate you on your accomplishments. We all know your junior year in high school is an extremely busy year, and we recognize that when you choose to take on additional work, participate in an outside activity, and commit to finish it, it is a major accomplishment. I did a little research, and I think these numbers are a little bit out of date, but to put this accomplishment into perspective, there are over 380,000 high school juniors in the state of Texas. And so from your first submission of your application to your selection to participate in the virtual activities and then finish up with Moonshot, we're impressed. We hope along the way that we've inspired you, but I would want you to remember that you inspire us. We're excited about your future, and we hope that in some shape or form you'll return to NASA and that we'll get to see you again. Congratulations and best wishes.
Thank you so much, Cindy. And I am Jessica Cordero, the manager of the Texas High School Aerospace Scholars Program. This year, we are celebrating 22 years of Haas. Over 480 Texas students became the latest cohort of rising high school seniors to complete this unique NASA experience. A heartfelt thank you to our partners, the state of Texas, the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, Texas A&M Engineering Experiment Station, and also the Rotary National Award for Space Achievement for your continuous support and investment in Texas students and for promoting access to STEM education for all. Next, I would like to introduce my team. This incredible team implemented the 16-week online experience and also the week-long summer experience. They also provided professional development to the teachers and provided training to the NASA scientists and engineers who mentored our students this summer. This is a very special team that I like to call the Haas Dream Team. I am so incredibly honored to work with them. Scott Black, John Davis, and John Wilson.
A huge thank you to the Texas educators for your dedication, hard work, and long pronto hours communicating and facilitating the Haas teams through their virtual moonshot journey. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Next slide. The next group of people who have been instrumental in making this Haas experience engaging, challenging, and valuable are the engineers, scientists, and specialists from across Johnson Space Center who offered up their time, talent, and wisdom as team mentors. This year, we had 19 NASA mentors. Of this group, 6 of them are Haas alumni. Here are the Week 1 NASA consultants. Next slide. And here are the Week 2 NASA consultants. Again, thank you so much, mentors, for inspiring our moonshot teams.
Greetings, everyone. So we would like to give our sincerest welcomes and thank yous to astronaut Bill MacArthur and also Sarah Brubaker for kicking off this year's welcome ceremony for Moonshot. We would also like to thank our internships team members Annalise Giuliani and Hiba Akram for sharing NASA internships information with the Haas students. And also our friends at Texas A&M for holding a college and career panel with the students. This day was critical to the students' success as they provided the steps on how to prepare for their future in STEM. Also, and last but not least, a special thank you to the robotics, systems, and virtual reality teams for providing a behind-the-scenes tour of their facilities and ending with a great question and answer session.
Good afternoon. I am Rihanna Apasiva and part of Team India 1. I am a student at Los Fresnos High School in Los Fresnos, Texas. It is my pleasure to introduce our first guest speaker, Ms. Ginger Carrick. Ms. Carrick is the Deputy Director of Johnson Space Center's Exploration, Integration, and Science Directorate. Ginger was born and raised in El Paso, Texas, and graduated from Texas Tech University with a bachelor's and master's degree in physics. Ginger began working for NASA as an intern and has served in numerous roles throughout her career: materials research engineer, astronaut and flight controller instructor, Russian training integration instructor, the first non-astronaut Capcom, and in 2005, Ginger became the first Hispanic female NASA flight director. Other roles include Assistant Director for the International Space Station for the Flight Operations Directorate and Chief of the Flight Integration Division. In 2016, she was inducted into the Texas Women's Hall of Fame by Governor Abbott. In 2019, she was appointed by Governor Abbott to serve on the Texas Tech University System Board of Regents. In her personal time, she is an avid runner, decorates cakes, and supports a number of Houston area dog rescues. Please welcome Miss Ginger Carrick.
Well, thank you very much, Raina. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started. I am really excited to be able to talk to you today, and I wish I had an opportunity like this when I was in high school. So you all should count yourselves very lucky and very privileged, and I hope that you learned a lot. And I hope you can learn even more from my talk today. I was just like you a long time ago, but I found my way to NASA, and I want to share my experiences with you so that you can find your way to NASA too. It started when I was quite young, actually 5 years old. I decided I want to be an astronaut or maybe a professional basketball player. And luckily, my parents were very supportive and said, all right, you have to go to college for both of those dreams, but don't you worry. Your dad has a great job and we will be able to afford to send you to college. So I thought I had it made until I didn't. And when I was 11 years old, my dad died. I had 2 older sisters and an older brother and a stay-at-home mom. So when my dad died, it turned our world upside down. And my mom had to go out and get whatever job she could find. And that job wasn't going to allow us, her to pay for my college. So she told me, don't worry about it, mija. You will be able to go to school, but you just have to do really well at school or really well in sports, and you can get scholarships. So I learned what scholarships were at 11 years old, and I took my mother's advice and I studied hard. And I did well in high school. I was president of the National Honor Society. I was a member of the math club and the science club, but I also excelled in sports. And I played volleyball, I played basketball. I tried out for the boys baseball team because we didn't have a softball team. But at the end of my high school career, because I did what my mother said, I had a number of different scholarships to a number of different universities, both academic, because I was second in my class, and athletic. I was voted El Paso's Female Athlete of the Year for the city. So as I thought about all the scholarships, I was also a little young. I was 17, and no one in my family had left home yet. And I thought, well, I'm going to stay at home and go to the University of Texas, El Paso. It's a very good school. I will try out for the basketball team, and I'll study physics there for a couple of years until I give myself a chance to grow up and maybe go to a different university. So one of my dreams was to be a professional basketball player. Step 1, play basketball in college. Check. Step 2, oh no, I dislocated my kneecap. So no more big dream of becoming an NBA player. They weren't able to repair the knee. I just had to, they didn't have fancy surgeries back then. So I had to hang up my high tops and go with my backup dream of being an astronaut. So after a couple of years at UTEP, I decided I had grown up enough to transfer and go away to school. And I went to Texas Tech University. And the reason I chose that is because my dad had gone there and he was never able to finish. He was never able to finish. He didn't get his diploma. And I thought this will be a great way for me to honor my dad. I'll go get my bachelor's there. I stayed for my master's, and then I applied to NASA. Getting into NASA wasn't easy. I started off as a summer intern, and then I was able to convert that to a Pathways internship. But even then, the president put a hiring freeze when I graduated, and I had to wait 2 or 3 months before NASA was able to hire me. So you always need to be persistent. But I got in, but my dream wasn't just to work at NASA. My dream was to be an astronaut. So after I met the minimum qualifications, I submitted my application to be an astronaut. And guess what? Out of 3,000 applications, they picked 120 of us to interview, and I was one of the 120. I was only 26 years old, and I was so excited because there's no way that I won't do this. I've been ready for this my whole life. But then life got in the way. So during the medical tests that they conduct on you when you're going through astronaut physicals, they found kidney stones. I didn't know I had them. But what I did know is NASA had started a new disqualification that year that if your body forms kidney stones, you can never be an astronaut. So I was crushed. I wanted to be a basketball player. I couldn't be a basketball player. I wanted to be an astronaut. I couldn't be an astronaut. And I thought, oh my God, I just want to quit NASA. I am so done here. But then I thought about it, and I was teaching astronauts. That was my job at NASA, teaching astronauts. And I didn't even know that that was a job back when I was in high school and college. And I thought, I like teaching astronauts. What if there's other jobs that I don't know anything about? What if there are things out there that would allow me to contribute even more to NASA than being an astronaut? So I better toughen up. And I've considered myself pretty tough since I survived my dad dying at 11 years old. So I said, all right, you are going to go to work today and you are going to have fun. And it took me a little while to really convince myself of that. But once I did, I started having a lot of fun. So I got assigned as an instructor for the astronauts, but I also got assigned to the very first crew that was planning to fly on board the space station. The space station has been in operation longer than you all have been alive, but I was around when it was first starting, and to be asked to train the first crew was quite an honor. So I did that for a few years, and that crew got to train in Russia. So I wound up moving to Russia for 4 years, and I learned how to speak Russian, and I made a lot of new friends, and I learned a lot about the Russian space program. So I thought, wow, it can't get better than this job. But then it did. And during my training with that first crew, I learned everything there was to know about the space station. On the Russian side, the US side, I knew what the flight controllers and mission control, what their responsibilities were, what the crew's responsibilities were. And because of all that knowledge, it made me uniquely qualified to do something for the very first time, which is to be the person in mission control that talks to the crew. Up until that point in NASA's history, it had only been an astronaut. So I did that job, and it was wonderful. I did that job for 4 years. It's like I got paid to talk to my friends in space about technical subjects that I knew, and I thought, there's no way it could get better than this. And then it did. The Capcom in mission control sits right next to the flight director, and the flight director is in charge of mission control. And every decision, the lives of the crew, the integrity of the spacecraft, and executing the mission, it is on that person's shoulders. And I decided I was going to apply. Well, guess what? No Capcom had ever been a flight director before, but that didn't hinder me. And I applied, and I became the first female Hispanic flight director. And I did that job for 8 years, and it was wonderful. I loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. And I thought, surely it can't get better than this. But you know how my story goes. Yes, it can. So after 8 years in the flight director office, I went through a series of management positions that each one allowed me to have greater responsibility, greater authority, and more ability to impact the lives of my employees and of people like you coming into NASA for the very first time. So I have loved doing that, all of my management jobs, including the one I've been doing for the last year, where I get to help to send people to the moon. So I am a living, breathing part of the Artemis program, and I am so glad that you all have been here to participate in it as well. So the last thing I'll leave you with is, no matter what you do, please make sure that you like doing it. You don't want to be that person that is just so not afraid to, that doesn't want to go to work and, oh man, I don't ever do that. I'm so excited to go to work every single day. I want that for you, and I know you can get that here. So go to college, start entering at NASA, and I hope to see you soon. So thank you very much. So Jessica, are we going to have some questions?
Yes, we actually have Servando joining you now. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ms. Carrick. My name is Servando Avalos, and my question for you is, seeing how you began work as a research engineer and eventually became a deputy director, what's the best piece of advice you have for students who will enter the workplace as engineers in places as competitive as NASA, who want to eventually reach these types of high-level positions?
That's an excellent question. My advice to you would be to do your best no matter what job you get assigned. The first job I got assigned was testing bolts. That doesn't sound very exciting, but I knew that if I didn't test those bolts right, there could be a problem. So you need to do your best, understand why what you're doing, how what you're doing contributes to the rest of NASA's mission. But also don't be afraid to do something for the first time. Most people are never ready to take that next step. So just know that and give it a go. You never know until you try.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ms. Carrick. My name is Aaliyah Wade, and my question for you today is, how did you maintain being an athlete while also being a student, like second in your class? And do you have any tips to keep a good work-life balance?
Oh, yes. So that was a struggle. I know it's a struggle to find work-life balance, but also to make time for everything. And I am a scheduler. I am a planner. So as soon as a teacher said, hey, this assignment is going to be due here, I would put that on the calendar and I would make sure it's done 2 days before, or I would lay out all my basketball practice schedules. So I knew that, okay, I can't study here because I'm at basketball, or I can't do this because I'm working with the dog rescue. So you lay it all out, but the important thing is during your career, you're going to have peaks where you really have to work a lot, but you also have to protect yourself and your family and make sure that you stay in the right mind. And for me, doing sports helps me clear my mind. So it's a good combination to have. I run after work every day to kind of reset my brain. And so you just got to find what works for you and make sure you have a way to schedule everything so nothing gets dropped. Good question.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ms. Carrick. My name is Aditya Shrikant, and my question for you today is, how do you think your life would have been had you not blown out your knee during your college basketball career? And also, what inspired you to work at NASA?
Oh, those are two very good questions. So I think if I hadn't have blown out my knee, I still wouldn't have been a professional basketball player. I'm 5'7" and I'm really slow. So when you look at the women that are playing professional basketball, I probably didn't stand a chance, but it would have been fun to try. But I think it made me tougher. Every experience that I have had where I lay out this plan and it doesn't work out makes you a little bit tougher, because that's just what life is. You make a plan, something happens, and you replan. But for why I wanted to work at NASA, I read a book when I was 5 years old about it was called Astronomy and Astronauts, and I read it cover to cover, and there was something in there that spoke to me that said, I have to work at NASA. So when I was in high school, even though my mom didn't have a lot of money, when my friends were taking trips, she took me, for spring break to all these fancy places. She took me to 3 space centers so that I could figure out which one I wanted to work at. So I had the support of my family and a plan, and you can't fail when you have that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ginger.
Thank you for answering those questions. And hello, I am Diego Delgado and part of the team Delta 3. I am a student at Booker T. Washington High School in Houston, Texas. It is my honor to introduce our next guest speaker, astronaut Shel Lindgren. Dr. Shel Lindgren was selected as one of the 14 members of the 20th NASA astronaut class in 2009. He spent most of his childhood abroad and returned to the United States to complete his education and earn a doctorate of medicine from the University of Colorado. He's board certified in emergency medicine. Dr. Lindgren flew on the International Space Station Expedition 44-45 and logged 141 days in space. He participated in 2 spacewalks and in more than 100 different scientific experiments. He is currently training to fly the NASA SpaceX Crew 4 mission to the International Space Station, scheduled to launch in 2022. Please welcome Dr. Shel Lindgren.
Thank you so much, Diego, and thanks to you all for this opportunity to be a part of this closing ceremony. It is really cool to be here and to have this opportunity to share with you all, and then also to get to follow Ginger Carrick. She is an inspiration, a critical leader here at Johnson Space Center. She's an incredible mentor, a great friend, and one of my former bosses. And so it was a lot of fun to get to hear her story. And I think that when you talk or get to hear the stories of a lot of the people that work at NASA, whether they're flight directors, engineers, or even astronauts, that you will discover that our paths, our journey is not a straightforward one, that they are really characterized by a lot of roadblocks and obstacles and challenges that have to be overcome. I know that you all have experienced that even now in your high school careers. We've just all together been through this incredible disruption in work and school with the COVID pandemic and still dealing with that. So you all are not foreign to hardship and obstacles. And it is one of the reasons I'm so excited to be here and to congratulate you all on what you've accomplished in this very challenging year. 487 of you have completed this prestigious and rigorous training program, on top of what I know was a impressive academic, athletic, and extracurricular schedule. And all of that, again, during this global pandemic. And I am in awe of the work that you have accomplished this year. And I was just mentioning to Ms. Cordero before the program started that I wished a program like this existed when I was in high school, but I am not sure that I would have been equal to the challenge. This accomplishment is a testament to your perseverance and your work ethic. Now, I know that you all realize that you did not achieve this goal in a vacuum. You had an amazing team surrounding you to help you finish to help you cross the finish line. And as I think about my own journey, I am well aware that this privilege of getting to be an astronaut is also not an individual accomplishment. As I think about my journey through the inception of this desire to become an astronaut, through to having the opportunity to live and work on the International Space Station, all along the way, all along that journey, I have been surrounded by people walking alongside me to help me to achieve this dream and accomplish this goal. Family, friends, teachers, instructors, coaches, teammates, classmates, mentors have been a part of that journey. And I know that the very same exists for you as well. That this particular accomplishment, getting selected as a Haas student, and now accomplishing being one of the amazing 487 students that have accomplished and completed this program, that was not an individual accomplishment. And so I want to say thank you, and I know that you also are saying thank you to Ms. Cordero and the fantastic team that has shepherded you all through this past year. So speaking of journeys, I thought that I would share a little bit of my journey to this privilege of getting to work as an astronaut with you all. I've wanted to be an astronaut for as long as I can remember. And I think I was really inspired, much like Ms. Carrick mentioned, I was inspired by reading. So science fiction, and then also by science fiction movies. And so this idea of living and working in space just absolutely grabbed my imagination. But then I remember in second grade very clearly, Mrs. Loudon, she wheeled the television into our classroom so that we could watch the very first space shuttle launch back in April of 1981. And it was then that it really clicked for me, watching the space shuttle launch, that this dream of living and working in space was not just a dream, but a reality. And it was something that people actually did. So there was no internet when I was little. So the only way that I could figure out how to become an astronaut came from books. And so reading accounts of our early space program, reading about our early astronauts and Mercury and Gemini and Apollo, our space shuttle astronauts, I determined that maybe the best path to pursue was to become a pilot, a test pilot, and then maybe to become an astronaut. I grew up in an Air Force family, and so it was very natural for me, this desire of becoming a fighter pilot for the U.S. Air Force, ultimately then maybe becoming a test pilot, and then someday perhaps becoming an astronaut. And so with that in mind, I decided, hey, if I want to become a pilot, then I'm going to join the Air Force. And if I'm going to join the Air Force, I want to go to the Air Force Academy. And so much like you, I aligned my sights on what I wanted to accomplish. I established goals and started trying to meet small chunks of that goal every day. And so was very grateful when I graduated in 1991 that I had secured an appointment to the U.S. Air Force Academy and was on that path that I had kind of developed for myself. My first obstacle at the Air Force Academy was that I had decided that, hey, if I'm going to ultimately someday work with NASA, I should study astronautical engineering. It wasn't from my own passion, but it was what I thought maybe NASA would want. And that was my first mistake. And much like Ms. Carrick mentioned, you need to study something. You need to pursue a career, pursue an interest in or an education in something that you're interested in. And I very quickly found that I did not have the talent nor the passion for the math involved with astronautical engineering. I did great in math in high school. I did really well on my placement exam at the academy when I should have probably just sat back and redone calculus. And unfortunately, I got placed in a high-level math class and just really struggled with that. I tried it another semester, continued to struggle, but discovered at the time that I had a talent and a passion for biology. And so I did some soul searching and decided, you know what, this is what I want to study. I want to understand how the human body adjusts to and is changed by weightlessness. And as soon as I made that decision, I really felt like I was in my environment. And so I changed my major to pre-med biology and really found my passion. I graduated from the Air Force Academy, still with a desire to fly, to become a fighter pilot. And but upon graduating from the Air Force Academy, I had the opportunity. I secured a scholarship program to do a master's in cardiovascular physiology, and had the opportunity to do research, understanding again how the human body is affected by weightlessness, and absolutely loved that opportunity to really dive into this area of academic interest. Graduating from that master's program, I went on to pilot training and was now marching towards this goal of becoming a pilot, and hopefully someday with the opportunity of getting to fly for NASA. I was about a third of the way through pilot training, and you're going to hear some kind of recurring themes here with Ginger's story. About a third of the way through pilot training, I went to the flight surgeon, our doctors, with what I thought was a cold that our doctor was initially concerned that that was a presentation of asthma. And so I was pulled out of the cockpit for a while, kind of put on a hold while the Air Force did continue to do some testing. Now, I wasn't worried. I knew that I was going to get back into that cockpit because I knew the symptoms I was having were very minimal. They were not a concern to me. And I was absolutely certain of my ability to fly for the Air Force. But I also knew the Air Force is a large institution that doesn't always make decisions on an individual's best interests. And so during that time, I decided, hey, I ought to have an alternative, something else prepared just in case the Air Force doesn't let me continue to fly. And so I'd been out of school for a few years at that point, so I had to retake preparation courses for med school entrance exam, the MCAT, and I started applying to medical schools. Well, about 6 months after being pulled from the cockpit, the Air Force came down with their decision that not only was I not going to be able to fly for the Air Force, but that I was going to be medically discharged, kicked out of the Air Force for what they were diagnosing as asthma. So I felt an obligation to the Air Force for all of the education and opportunities that it provided. So I appealed that decision, but ultimately that decision was upheld. And so I was medically discharged from the Air Force. And this represented one of the most challenging experiences in my professional career. Because this dream of being a pilot for the Air Force, a fighter pilot for the Air Force, with that larger dream of maybe someday becoming an astronaut, something that I had already been working towards for almost 10 years, that dream was completely obliterated. In my mind, there was no path from being medically discharged from the U.S. Air Force to someday getting to be an astronaut. And so I described that time as kind of this valley of despair, with my dreams and the path that I had kind of defined for myself completely obliterated. Where do I go from here? And so I am so grateful for my faith, for my family, for my friends that stood by me at that time as I tried to figure out what to do with my life. And I'm grateful for the work that I had invested in preparing for the MCAT and applying to medical schools, because as the day after my pilot training class graduated, which was a bittersweet event, so happy for my friends, but also heartbroken at the loss of that opportunity. The day after that graduation, I went to my mailbox and there was the acceptance letter from the University of Colorado for me to join the medical school class of 2002. And so that's what I pursued. Medicine provided me with a challenge, an opportunity to serve the community, and it was a really good fit for me. And so I went to Denver to study medicine. After 4 years, I chose to pursue emergency medicine, which again felt like a great fit for my talents and my passion. But as I train in emergency medicine, our particular program sends its residents to work in the hyperbaric chamber. Some critical patients will come in with carbon monoxide poisoning or maybe a dive injury and require treatment in this hyperbaric chamber. In order to do that, you cannot have asthma. And so I got tested for asthma and cleared, and subsequently tested many more times and again cleared every time. And so in my mind, I thought, that kind of opened the door in my mind for the inkling of a possibility to still work in some capacity in human spaceflight. And so I sought out a program at UTMB here in Galveston at University of Texas Medical Branch. And after finishing emergency medicine training, I underwent a second training program in aerospace medicine, ultimately to get a job at NASA as a flight surgeon, a doctor that takes care of the astronauts. And upon graduation, was very grateful to have that opportunity to work as a flight surgeon, supporting the crew that were living and working in Star City in Russia for part of those 2 years. And then in 2008, NASA announced another astronaut application. I threw my hat in the ring and was very grateful to be selected to the class of 2009 in the 20th astronaut class. I flew to the space station in 2015 and spent 141 days living and working on the ISS. I got to do 2 spacewalks and had 2 really powerful moments on the space station. One, of course, was that moment where I had fulfilled this lifelong dream of getting to live and work in space, to look back at our beautiful home planet and see that view with my own eyes. The second experience that I had was really to look back at my journey and to recognize that day when it was decided that I was going to be medically discharged from the Air Force. A day of despair, a cursed day. But then to have the recognition, the realization while I was living and working in space, that this opportunity, this privilege of getting to serve as an astronaut and to have that experience of living and working in space, that it would not have been possible without that day. I am almost 100% certain that had I stayed in the Air Force and flown, that I would not be here right now. But that day, that very difficult day, was truly a blessing. That this whole story, this opportunity to live and work in space, to serve as an astronaut, pivots on that terrible day. And so it's really given me perspective that as we are going through really challenging experiences, as we meet obstacles, as we find ourselves doors closing in front of us, that they truly are opportunities to dig deep, to lean on friends and family, and to find alternate paths that result in amazing opportunities and experiences. And so I hope that you'll just carry that with you as you set out on your own journey. You've heard it many, many times that, and I'm going to reiterate it to you, that you are the Artemis generation. I grew up fixated on images of the Apollo astronauts working and walking on the surface of the moon. And we are embarking on a new adventure with renewed spirit to establish a sustainable presence on the moon as we reach for our ultimate destination of Mars. And you are critical to this journey. We need your spirit, your passion, ingenuity, and determination if we hope to succeed. And so it's a privilege for me to be a part of the Artemis team, laying the foundation for your future work and accomplishments. You all are standing at the threshold of an amazing adventure, and you've built a terrific foundation in your high school accomplishments, a launch pad for your future journey. You've surrounded yourself with a terrific crew, a team of family, friends, coaches, teachers, and mentors, and each of you have set a trajectory for success by participating in the Haas program and looking to study STEM in college. And that's so important because STEM is the language, science, technology, engineering, math. That is the language of spaceflight right now. So I want to congratulate you on your pursuits and wish you the very best on your future career. I think Ms. MacArthur mentioned it earlier. We are inspired. We are inspired by your success, and we are so excited to hear about your future accomplishments. We hope that you return to invest your talents and passion in our nation's space program. Thank you so much, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Good afternoon, Michelle. I'm Jimena, and my question for you today is, as part of this Artemis generation, how has aerospace medicine changed from training, tests, and experiments as we try to establish a more sustainable environment in the moon? And what are you most looking forward to in the upcoming NASA SpaceX Crew 4 mission to the International Space Station?
Wow, that's a lot there. So great questions about aerospace medicine. You know, it's very interesting when we talk about aerospace medicine. It is very exciting to think about, hey, how do we treat, how do we take care of, how do we prepare astronauts to live and work in space? And right now, aerospace medicine is very preventative in its focus. And that is that we try to identify and select the healthiest astronauts possible to minimize the amount of disease and morbidity that we take to space. And by in doing that, minimize the amount of medical issues and emergencies that we have to deal with on the space station. As everyone's aware, it's very expensive to take things to the space station. Medications expire for every tool and every procedure that we train, that we have on the space station. We need to train somebody in how to do that. And so we try to keep our astronauts as healthy as possible. Now, as we venture to the moon and as we go to Mars, it's a little bit of a game changer. You know, in low Earth orbit, on the space station, sure, we can send healthy people up there and keep them healthy while they're on the space station. And in the off chance that somebody is injured or develops an illness that is severe and requires more medical care than we can provide on the space station, we're just 250 miles away from the Earth. We can load them into the spacecraft that they arrived on and send them back to the Earth for definitive medical care. As we go to the moon, as we venture to Mars, we have to flip that paradigm because we're not going to be able to get people back to Earth. And so we're going to have to develop the ability for advanced medical care, algorithms, and perhaps a computer that helps our crew medical officers in those vehicles to take care of our astronauts, and then prepare our crew medical officers to a higher degree of capability than we currently have. There isn't always a physician on the space station in every mission. We train crew medical officers. You could be a fighter pilot and be trained as a crew medical officer to take care of your crewmates on the space station. And when we fly physicians like myself, we have a little bit more advanced capability, but we have to be more intentional about that in the future. Let's see, your other question was, what am I looking forward to in my upcoming mission? I am so excited to get to fly back to the space station. I feel like my first mission was kind of a fire hose. It was just something new every day. And so I'm excited to go back with the experience of my last mission and to maybe better understand and enjoy what it is that I'm going to get to do. I have an amazing crew. We get to fly on the Crew Dragon, SpaceX Crew Dragon. I'm really looking forward to launching from Kennedy Space Center, where friends and family can come and watch the launch. And I'm excited about the views, excited to do the science, and more than anything, excited to be a part of that team that on a daily basis, that team in the space station, that team connected to our team here on Earth and mission control in Houston and all over the world with our international partners, a team that is doing amazing things every day as we continue to work to extend our presence in the solar system. When I was on the space station, I felt like I was a bridge builder and that I was laying bricks, pieces of a bridge that was going to help take our future astronauts to the moon and to Mars. And I look forward to doing that again to help prepare that bridge for you all that are going to go to the moon and someday to Mars. I'm very excited about that. Thank you, Domina.
Well, thank you so much for answering my question. It was a pleasure and privilege to meet you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Dr. Lindgren. My name is Jared Byers, and my question for you is, what robots and mechanisms help you the most during your time in space?
Hey, Jared, thanks. Robots are awesome. And so I'm so excited. You know, my kids got to be involved in a robotics program here, and they really are force multipliers for our ability to explore. On the space station, of course, the most important robot I think that we have up there is the robotic arm. You know, it is absolutely critical to our ability to capture cargo vehicles and berth them to the space station. It's critical to our logistics supply. If we could not do that, we wouldn't be able to load, to bring up new supplies, clothing, food, experiments, and tools. The robotic arm helps us to do spacewalks. We climb onto the robotic arm, lock into it, and then we're able to move huge pieces of equipment around the space station. And so that's probably the most important robot that we have on the space station. Of course, robots come in many sizes and shapes. One of them is humanoid shaped. So we had Robonaut on the space station. Unfortunately, Robonaut was not doing well when I was up there, and so I had to try to do some diagnostic and repair work. But I think robots like that are going to be critical to future exploration. And of course, you can almost call our spacecraft robots. They dock autonomously. They come in. They don't need us to manually dock. Of course, we're standing by and trained and ready to intervene if necessary. But the incredible engineers and scientists that we have working at NASA and with NASA have done incredible work in building these amazing machines that really help us explore low Earth orbit and someday the Moon and Mars.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jared.
Hello, Dr. Lindgren. My name is Isabella Suarez, and my question for you is, what was your favorite experiment and or repair activity during your time that you participated in during your time on the International Space Station? And why was this your favorite?
Thanks, Isabella. Well, I'll touch on both of those. So one of my favorite activities had to be going and doing a spacewalk. Absolutely amazing to see the Earth and to see the outside of the space station from that perspective. To have your whole field of view just occupied by the outside of the space station, to see the Earth and have that occupy your whole field of view is just, it's indescribable, absolutely amazing. And to get to use this, to do this activity that you've trained hundreds of hours to do, invested blood, sweat, and tears in training to do spacewalks, and finally getting to do it for real was just a highlight of the experience. My favorite experiments, this is going to kind of reveal a little bit about me. I loved the veggie experiment, getting to take care of plants, to watch them grow from little seedlings into huge plants over the course of a month, to take care of this living organism in the otherwise sterile environment of the spacecraft. Millions of gardeners can't be wrong, and it absolutely was true on the space station as well. And getting to eat the plant at the end, fresh food. We grew red romaine lettuce, and so having fresh food that we had grown to complement our kind of freeze-dried and irradiated regular menu was really fun. The other experiment I really liked was called capillary beverage. We had a specially designed cup so you can't pour a drink in space, but this cup, actually, I've got it right here. So this is a capillary beverage cup, and you can see the acute angle here. If you put fluid in here, it tracks along through capillary motion along this acute angle and comes up to the edge. And then you can sip at that drink right here at the top. And so we would put coffee in this, and then you're able to smell the coffee. So I love coffee, and not getting, drinking coffee through like a Capri Sun pouch is not as great an experience. And with this, you get the aroma of the drink that you're drinking as well. And so while this seems like a lot of fun, getting to drink different drinks in this to see how it works, like a really thick drinks, hot, cold, sweet, water, the science is really important. It's going to help us identify ways to move fluids like fuel in a spacecraft without having to use electricity or power. And so my favorite experiments turned out to be things where I got to eat or drink something. I don't know what that says about me, but I really enjoyed those experiments. Thank you.
That was lovely information. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Hello, good afternoon, Dr. Lindgren. My name is Amo Bumbia, and my question for you is, how has working while in space and having had experiences such as spacewalks impacted your outlook on the world as well as your lifestyle?
Thank you, Amal. I think that every astronaut that comes back from that experience of living and working in space comes back with a renewed passion for our home planet, the Earth. When you look at the Earth, when you look to the left, it is the black void of space. When you look to the right, it is the inky blackness of space. And right there in front of you is our beautiful home planet, the Earth. It is where we grew up. It is where all of our loved ones are. It is where we're going back to. And that's it. It is a discrete body. And yet we treat it as if it is finite, and yet we treat it as if it were infinite. And so I think we all come home with a renewed interest in taking care of the Earth. On the space station, we spend up to 30% of our time maintaining and repairing the space station because we recognize that the space station is protecting us from the harsh void of space. It provides us atmosphere, air to breathe. It is where we have our food stored. It provides us with light, protects us from radiation. And if we don't take care of the space station, it will break and it will be unable to take care of us. And we will be exposed to the harsh void of space. The Earth is our space station, humanity's space station. And yet I know that we do not spend 30% of our daily lives taking care of the Earth. It is finite. It is the only place that we have to live. And it has finite resources, and we have to take better care of it. Because if we break it, we will have no other place to live. And so I think we all come back with a desire to do better as members of Spaceship Earth, as crew members on this beautiful home planet. Thank you, Amal.
Thank you. That was an interesting answer.
Good afternoon, Dr. Lindgren. My question for you is, what are some missed opportunities you wished you would have taken?
Oh boy, Vanessa, I think when I flew that first mission, I did it as if it were going to be my only time. It feels like a once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm so grateful that for the second opportunity to fly, but I really try to treat it as a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I feel like I did a pretty good job. I came home without really any regrets, and really with a renewed interest of trying to help my fellow astronauts, especially those who had not flown yet, to get the most out of their missions, to help them prepare, and then also to share my experience, my flight experience, because it is so unique. It is such a privilege to fly, getting to share that experience. Like in this forum, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to share with you my journey and the experiences that I had on orbit, because I know that they are unique, and I want to encourage all of you in your future careers. It is so rewarding to get to work with this NASA team, to get to work with the best and brightest that our country, that really the world has to offer. And so I'm incredibly excited for all of you on your completion of this program. It is a testament to your hard work, to your resilience, and to your future goals. I wish you all of the best, and really, again, appreciate this opportunity to get to share with you all today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lindgren, for sharing your amazing story and sharing answers with our students. It's so appreciative. All right. So Moonshot. In the week-long Haas Moonshot gamified course, the students complete a series of challenging team assignments. There are 3 levels: Earth, Moon, and Mars, in which the teams work together to research, design, and plan a sustainable mission to Moon and Mars. In Level 1, students form their team. Level 2, they conduct guided research for mission planning that includes a design challenge. In level 3, they create a preliminary design review video defending their mission planning and how it reduces risk, but yet allows for exploration. I commend these students for their dedication and commitment to NASA over the past year. This group of students are eligible to receive a science elective credit towards their high school graduation. Students will also receive a NASA certificate of completion of the summer experience. To tell you more about the Artemis-themed mission planning experience that students worked on, I would like to welcome Ms. Ria Narayan.
Hey y'all, my name is Ria Narayan. I'm honored to be here representing the NASA Texas High School Aerospace Scholars Class of 2021. I was the systems engineer for Team Golf 2. I attend Cypress Ridge High School in Houston, Texas, and I learned about Haas through my brother Neil when he participated during the summer of 2019. Our challenge for the week was to design a feasible plan to land and live on Mars. We had 4 days to coordinate with the other teams, organize our research, design prototypes, and prepare a preliminary design review, or PDR video, over our specific areas. Let me tell you, this was not an easy task. For a team to truly function, we must actively engage in listening and seeking each other's opinions. We all know that to be misunderstood is aggravating, but to be ignored is devastating. As a systems engineer leader, I believe that teams need to embrace the idea that communication isn't a tool to unveil who is right or wrong. Rather, when applied correctly, it is a beautifully crafted sledgehammer that smashes stale ideas and unveils the truth. The 16-week online course and the week-long virtual experience has been incredibly beneficial, and I am excited for the next graduating Haas class that gets to experience this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ria, and we wish you the best of luck in your STEM future. Now, let's get ready for our Haas 2021 student video.
Something that I would 100% want to work at NASA for is something relating to chemistry. I love chemistry. It's my favorite science in high school, and I would just love to be a chemist at NASA. And something I'm surprised that NASA hires is a media relations specialist, because you wouldn't think that they would need someone who's passionate for writing fiction stories, but that's so cool. I love that.
One job I'm interested that NASA hires is a Deputy Associate Administrator for Legislative and Intergovernmental Affairs, because I think that's really interesting how we can cooperate with the government, seeing as we are an entity of the government, NASA.
I was a little surprised to find out that NASA had cybersecurity openings and cybersecurity jobs, but I'd be really interested in doing cybersecurity, data science, and IT, as I'm very interested in computer science. I've taken many computer science classes throughout high school.
A career I'm interested in is being a discipline scientist, because it allows for room to be creative in order to solve issues that affect technological developments that will advance our future.
One job at NASA that interested me was being a design engineer, which helps to work on the different NASA projects, maybe working with rockets or the other smaller projects. And one of the careers that really surprised me was that they had a posting for a lead psychologist, which is interesting because they work in HR and they help to find talent and to manage other different branches.
Looking at the NASA careers has proven to be incredibly fun because I get to see what I'd like to do. Personally, I'm more interested in becoming an astronaut, get a piece of the action, explore the stars, go on spacewalks, repair the ship, that sort of thing.
A career that I would want to pursue would be in data science or IT. That's really interesting to me, but one thing that I was really surprised that they have was media specialists to help write fiction books. That was really cool, and I never thought that they would actually work on a team with NASA. I thought it would be a separate entity.
A career at NASA, or a couple of careers at NASA I'm interested in, is either an earth science remote sensing engineer or a mechanical engineer. And those just resonate with me personally just because I'm sincerely interested in them.
Career that I found interesting that I never really thought of that NASA hires is an accountant. Whenever I think of NASA, I think of all the missions and science that goes into it, but I never really think of the finances or that people actually have to think about that stuff.
One career that I would love to pursue at NASA is becoming an aerospace engineer. I would love to be a leader of a team of hard-working people that want to get a job done and want to explore the world with flight. And a job that I was very shocked that NASA does hire is equal employment specialist. And that's just ensuring that people who deserve to work at NASA get to work at NASA, and that race, gender, sexuality, religion isn't a factor. And I find that so cool.
That was pretty awesome. So now the moment you all have been waiting for. So we're about to introduce our top teams for weeks 1 and 2. So this is the moment all 54 teams have been waiting for. So drum roll, and the top team for week 1 and week 2 are week 1, top team, Echo 2. Congratulations, Echo 2. And from week 2, top team, Bravo 2. Congratulations, Bravo 2. Thank you so much for your hard work.
Hi, Shayla Rivera again to say congratulations from Texas A&M Engineering. We hope that your passion for STEM continues your whole life long. And remember that there will be a whole community of high school aerospace scholars from the past, present, and future to cheer you on. In fact, you are now part of that community. We are so proud of all you have and will accomplish. Keep dreaming, keep wondering, and keep problem solving. The world needs you. Gig 'em.
Wow, this has been an unforgettable year. We had a worldwide pandemic and a winter storm, but that could not keep you from your dream of being part of the NASA family. While our NASA team launched Crew 1, Crew 2, and also landed the Perseverance rover and Ingenuity helicopter on Mars, you were also doing hard work that will impact your future. Thank you for your persistence, dedication, and your heart to pursue your passion. 50% of students learn about Haas from a teacher, counselor, or conversations with a friend. I need your commitment that you will be a brick builder, be an ambassador for NASA. Your yes will change lives. We depend on you to let your friends, family, school, and community know about Haas, the Artemis Student Challenges, and the variety of STEM resources available on the NASA website. And remember to share NASA with the elementary school and the junior high school you attended. NASA is pushing forward to the moon, and the first female and the first person of color will step foot on the lunar surface, and we want everyone to be part of our exciting journey. Please share nasa.gov/STEM, and you will find NASA at-home resources, ways to connect to other student programs, and internship opportunities. NASA's goal is to reach more students than ever before, but we can't do it without your help. We will start recruiting for the Haas class of 2022 beginning on August 30th, so be sure to share nasa.gov/Haas. I began my NASA career in a student program when my friends shared that she was going to work here. I was a junior in high school, and never in my wildest dreams could I have imagined that I would have a 30 career with NASA. While I've loved each of my positions here, the most rewarding job has been supporting you, the Texas High School Aerospace Scholars. Whatever dream you have in your heart at this moment, know that the reality will be bigger and better than you can imagine. You are the Artemis generation. You are creative, innovative, and you have passion that will help take us to Mars and beyond. Congratulations again to the Haas class of 2021 honored today. This concludes our program. Thank you.